Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into James Clear's Atomic Habits. This is a book that, well, it might just reshape how you look at the little things you do every day. It kind of pushes back on the idea that you need these huge, massive efforts for big change. Clear suggests it's really the opposite. We're going to, pull out the most powerful ideas from his work, give you a shortcut, really, to understanding how tiny shifts can lead to, well, pretty significant results.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we aim for in this deep dive, right? To dig into those core insights so you can see just how profound these seemingly small changes can actually be. Forget the massive makeovers. This book's all about the surprising power found in just, well, the everyday stuff.
Okay, so if we're talking these tiny adjustments, what's the first, big idea from Clear on how they actually build up into something huge?
Yeah.
It almost sounds too simple,
Yeah.
to really work.
It does, yeah, and that's sort of the beauty of it. Clear does a great job showing how that seemingly tiny thing, just improving by 1%, that's actually the key. Think about it this way. Get just 1% better each day for a year, and you end up, 37 times better? But flip side, get 1% worse each day. You basically wipe yourself out, down towards zero. It's all about that compounding effect. Tiny gains adding up. Like shifting a rudder just 1 degree, it changes your whole destination over time.
Wow, yeah, that compounding idea is really,
Yeah.
it's powerful. It makes those small choices feel much heavier,
Yeah.
So, okay, if that's the foundation, how does Clear actually break down how habits work? Like the mechanics behind it. What's the basic process?
Right. He gives us this framework. He calls it the habit loop. Super simple, but really effective. 4 parts. You've got the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward.
Okay.
So the cue is the trigger, right?
Yeah.
Something you see, hear, feel starts the whole thing. Then the craving, that's the motivation, the desire for that change in state. The response is the habit itself, the action you take. And finally, the reward. That's the payoff, the good feeling that tells your brain, hey, let's do that again. Understanding that loop means you can actually start designing your habits. Make the good ones stick and, dismantle the bad ones.
Okay, so we get the loop, the internal stuff.
Yeah.
But Clear also talks a lot about, well, not just willpower, right? He argues our surroundings, our environment often shapes us more than we think. How does he suggest we use that, practically?
Oh, this is huge. Yeah. His advice is basically make the good habits really obvious and super easy, and the bad habits, make them invisible or at least difficult.
Oh, yeah.
He really emphasizes how much our environment pulls the strings. So say you want to play guitar more. Don't hide it in the closet. Leave it out right where you'll see it. Want to eat better? Fruit bowl on the counter, junk food tucked away.
Right. Makes sense.
By designing your space, you're not just relying on grit. You're kind of engineering your behavior, making the right choice the easiest choice.
That idea of making it easy? Yeah, that feels like it could unlock things for a lot of people. Now, this next point feels maybe the most fundamental. Clear goes beyond just what we do. He talks about who we are. Why is identity so central to making habits stick?
It really is a total shift, isn't it? From just tweaking behaviors to changing your core beliefs. See, most people focus on the outcome. I want to lose weight. I want to finish my novel.
Yeah, the goal.
Exactly. But Clear says the change that lasts comes from focusing on the identity who you want to become. So instead of I'm trying to quit smoking, you shift to I am a non-smoker. Your actions then just flow from that identity. They confirm it. You're not just chasing a goal. You're embodying the type of person who, well, does those things naturally. It makes being consistent feel much less like a struggle.
So pulling it all together then, the big message from this deep dive into atomic habits seems to be that, wow, we actually have a lot of control. By understanding these small steps, the habit loop, the environment, and that identity piece, we can genuinely steer our lives towards success. It often comes down to managing the tiny things deliberately.
Absolutely. And maybe to leave you with something to think about, connect it back to that 1% better idea and the power of identity. Consider this. What's one single tiny adjustment? Maybe something in your environment, maybe just a small shift in how you see yourself. What could you do today? Just one small thing to start building the identity of the person you hope to be, say, this time next year. Something to mull over.